So today I want to address the issue of immigration across the English Channel, asylum seekers coming across the English Channel, the Stop the Boats issue and how the government is addressing that. The first thing I'd like to say is actually I don't think this issue is particularly clear-cut in the sense that people are coming across the Channel. I think it's reasonable for nation states to have borders. People are breaching those borders. How do you go about dealing with them with compassion and justice? It's very hard to plan because how many people are coming, you don't know. It's very hard to know what to do when they do that. Following through on asylum, I think this is complicated. And whichever government is dealing with it, I think it's going to be a difficult issue to deal with. So the first thing is, in a sense, I have sympathy with the government. However, I think when the way they're going about it is absolutely shocking. Crucially, and people haven't seemed to have picked this bit up as much as I'd expect, it seems to be very vague about the law. So when Suella Braverman goes up to the House of Commons and said, well, our finest legal experts are looking into it and we're trying to find out. No, you've had months on this. Either it's legal or it's not. You're not unsure about whether it's the case. And then it turns out in the planning, they think there's going to be some legal challenges, so nothing's going to happen for a year anyway. How can you not know? This has been happening for months. This has been happening for years. How can you not know whether your proposed policy is legal or not? And I worry because it feels like the government doesn't really care if it's legal or not. They just want to push it through. And if you stop giving up on the law, you've given up on the law which is trying to implement justice, what on earth are we? And this would be St. Augustine's line. This is in his sort of classic book, City of God. Remove justice, and what are kingdoms but gangs of criminals on a large scale? I'll say it again. Remove justice, but what are kingdoms but gangs of criminals on a large scale? What are criminal gangs but petty kingdoms? A gang is a group of men under the command of a leader bound by a compact of association in which the plunder is divided according to an agreed convention. If this villainy wins so many recruits from the ranks of the demoralised that it acquires territory, establishes a base, captures cities and subdues people, it then openly arrogates to itself the title of kingdom, which is conferred on it in the eyes of the world, not by the renunciation of aggression, but by the attainment of impunity. My worry is that we've got a nation state, and because the Prime Minister and the Home Secretary don't really care about whether they're following the law or not, they don't know whether they're following the law or not, we're turning our nation state into just a gang. It's just a gang of criminals with the people who are the most powerful imposing their will on the people who are less powerful. And that is very, very problematic. How can you not know if what you're doing is legal or not, or even seem to care? And this is where I get kind of cynical about the whole thing. If you don't know, what they then seem to say is, well, we've been stopped before by a cabal of lefty lawyers. Really? Really? Okay, I'll grant you this. Keir Starmer is the leader of the Labour Party, so he's left-wing, and he is also a lawyer. But we've been stopped by a cabal of lefty lawyers. Have you met lawyers? If you've been talking about a load of lefty university lecturers, maybe. Lawyers aren't left-wing, right-wing. The thing about lawyers is they follow the law. The clue is in the name. And when the government is attacking lefty lawyers, really, they're attacking the law. That's what they're attacking. The lawyers aren't left-wing, right-wing. They're just trying to follow the law. And if you're a government, you should be trying to follow the law. That is what should happen in a decent nation. And it feels like we're just abandoning that. That is massively problematic. And if I'm really cynical, you just think, you don't actually care about solving this issue. You just want to sound off. And then when the law comes back and says, oh no, that's actually illegal what you're trying to do, you just throw your hands up in the air and say, well, we were stopped by a cabal of lefty lawyers, and then that's good enough for you. You haven't done anything about the people crossing the channel. You haven't done anything on borders. You just kind of spouted off. And as you're spouting off, you're just turning this country away from being a nation, and as Augustine said, you're turning it into just a gang. It's just a gang of people who aren't bound by justice, aren't bound by the law. It's just a gang who kind of do what they like. And if the law's against them, they go, oh, it's not the law, it's lefty lawyers. No, it's the law. That's what you've got to deal with. So the next time you hear anyone talk about lefty lawyers, or lawyers at all, just replace lawyers with the law. And I want a government that follows the law. I think we should all expect a government that follows the law. The whole point about being a nation is you've got to follow a law. When you go into primary schools and talk about British values, we talk about the rule of law. And yet that doesn't seem to apply to the Home Secretary and the Prime Minister. That is a massive problem, and I think we've got to do better as a country.